today's topic, you know what? Let me introduce today's topic because the reason why, you know, I really wanted to talk about this is I was just doing my stuff in the kitchen and Zarava come and, you know, Zarava's in the background and he's talking and stuff and he's speaking to Aaliyah and Zach, and he was talking, all of a sudden he was like, oh, you know, energy and this and that, and I was just listening without him being aware that I was listening to him, and he was literally repeating the way I speak, and I thought, shit, this is interesting, right? So then again, you know, a few things happened, and when he'll say, Mum, do you think this is real, or do you think this is, and I said, oh, I don't know. He goes, but you say everything's possible, so it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started to notice that, wow, so much of the way we speak out loud, or we even speak about ourselves and the kids are watching, we're not aware, right? Because I know for a fact Aaliyah didn't speak like that.
Yeah.
20 years ago, I was not having those conversations with myself, or I was not believing those beliefs, right? So my conversations were different. Then I look back and I think, how was my parents talking to me, or talking about life?
Just in general.
And talking about themselves in general, because they're the things that we learn.
Yeah.
We're programmed. And really made me think about, shit, are we aware of how much programming happens on a subconscious level when we're not aware? Because our kids are always watching. It's not when we're telling them to do something, they're actually learning mostly when we're speaking to ourselves and how we communicate about life. How many, like, I know my parents, they used to walk around saying, oh, you know, you got to work so hard, and you got to work hard for money, and money doesn't grow on trees, and man, we were conditioned in that, and you know, so many of us started off working hard for money, thinking that money was hard work.
It was a hard process to attain.
Right? Absolutely.
To attain money, yeah.
You know? And now I look at the way I speak about money and how money works, such a different conversation with my girls and the way they see things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Now having kids of my own, I've become more aware. Not in the same way that Zarava mentioned about he said it really in a nice way, but for example with Roman, he knows the F word.
Yeah.
At nearly 4 years old.
Yeah.
Right? So
how does he say it?
It was actually when he was younger, he would have been probably, I reckon, over a year ago. It was during lockdown.
Yeah.
And he started riding his little balance bike around the house going, fucking hell, with his balance bike. And he's just riding.
Yeah.
And he's going, fucking hell. But he was using the same expression and context of when you would use the word fucking hell.
Yeah, like, so he knew when to use it.
He knew when to use it.
Yeah, he didn't know the meaning, but he knew when to use it.
He made that fucking hell. He went open the drawer once, and he would have, I swear to you, he would have been lucky to be 3.
Yeah.
He's opened this drawer.
Yeah.
He's looking for something.
Yeah.
And I've told him off, Roman, don't open that drawer, it's time for bed. Fucking hell. And he's closed it.
Yeah.
So even without understanding what the word means, he understands when to use the word.
Yeah,
okay?
and the intention behind the word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one way where I started to actually, it smacked me in the face a bit. Myself and Jesse were like, mate, is this every kid, or is he just, I don't know, more aware of what's going on? But when you said that they're constantly paying attention and watching, they are, because I would be in the kitchen, the house we live in now, he can see me from the living room.
Yeah.
So, and we'd be in the kitchen, I'll be talking about something or doing it. I'll glance over to just have a look, see if he's okay. And he's not watching the TV, he's looking at me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And then he'd do it 2 or 3 times, and I'd say something on purpose and look at him and he starts to smile.
Yeah.
I'd say, like, I'd just be talking, I'd be like, I love Roman, I love you, Roman.
Yeah.
Or Roman, you're so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'll look over and he's smiling, and he's looking at me smiling. So they're very aware, and I think that's it's a good thing to keep us more aware and alert of what we say. And it's not necessarily of too much of what we say directly to them.
Oh, it's not.
It's not, because most of the time now, whatever we're thinking, we end up saying.
Yeah.
whether we're talking to partners, friends, or whoever.
Yeah.
And it is starting to condition them.
Mate, not even just like the language. Language is huge now. Like I never used to pay attention to language too until I started to notice all that stuff. But even like, think about this, right? Think about a mum after they've had kids and that walking around and saying, oh fuck, you know, I put on weight.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I don't fit into these clothes. And the children are watching, right? They're like, oh, okay, so you're not happy with your body change. You're not, you know, oh, after you have kids, you're not happy and your body changes and it's da 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 da. And it's like also those lessons. And I think it's so important that we have such an open awareness to this and really look back at how we were also conditioned, not because our parents wanted like for us to like suck, but they also had this thing of, say my mum and dad, they had parents that, look, both of my mum and dad had fathers that passed really young, yeah? So their experience was different. And I remember my mum making it out like life was tough, right? And I was like, oh, life was tough. But then as I started to notice, my life wasn't that tough, but that was the dialogue she had kept saying to me, like, you have to do this and be a strong girl, because that was her experience, you know. And now I look back and I think so much of her self-talk impacted on how I started to relate to life. But then there comes an opportunity, you know, in life too, to say, hey, do I want to carry this on? Is it something that's benefiting me, or is it something that, hey, it's not to do with me, and it was to do with my mum and it was served her purpose, but now I want to have a different dialogue with life, right? Even people that sit around and complain about life, you pass that on to your kids.
100%.
You want to bitch about other people, you will pass that on to your kids, because they will think that is normal and that's what we should do.
Yeah.
Some people, you know, think about it this way too. Some people have conversations of competition with their kids, right? You got to be the best, you got to be the best. They grow up thinking they're in competition with so many, because what they've taught is that, hey, you have to be number one, right? Whereas I used to do that to my kids.
Yeah.
But now I'm more about, shit man, what about collaboration? What about togetherness? What about inclusiveness? You know, because if you look around, competition has separated us, right? And it's very heavy burden to carry. Think about people that compete all their life. Fuck, dude. It actually weighs a ton. Eventually, you'll feel the load of competition.
Yeah, well, look at a lot of the athletes, or a lot of the athletes, whether it's, you know, athletes from combat sports or, you know, American football. You'll find if you follow all of that things, you'll find a lot of burnt out, exhausted.
Look at our
people,
swimmers. Look at our Aussie swimmers.
What
What's
happens?
happened?
They finish their career or their competitive career, and then they don't know what to do. And all of that hard work and dedication to earn such a career or lifestyle can be thrown away just so quickly.
Yeah.
Because they become lost. I think they become lost.
They a lot of them go into like a mental health issue, like they go into depression, anxiety.
I think their purpose. They feel like their purpose is gone.
Yeah, and it's heavy, man. And you can't actually physically, emotionally, and mentally compete for that long. You're not meant to. What animal competes for that duration? There is rest, there is recovery, there is, you know, look at a bear, they hibernate, they actually, you know, don't expel that energy, they actually use the energy 100%. To rest and recover.
Look at, like, when it comes to like cheetahs, for example.
What are cheetahs?
No, a cheetah.
Cheetah. What the fuck are we
this
doing?
This is not Love Island. It's not fucking Love Island. Cheetahs. They're the fastest fucking big cat, whatever it is, right? Yeah, land animal, quickest.
Yeah.
For a very short time.
Yes.
That zebra knows it's got to only last a certain amount of time, and not like, don't get caught. The cheetah's only got this much to catch me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah, it can't just be going flat out all the time. Same thing.
Absolutely, and I think it's very important that we actually start to change the way we speak and see life. And so, like sometimes, you know, that you have to go against what was taught to you. Just because it was done by your parents in that time, it actually doesn't mean that we continue it, especially with especially with finances and money and the way, you know, because a lot of our parents and stuff, they grew up in a time of war and all that stuff back then, so they knew, oh, you have to save everything,
already
you have to,
behind.
yeah, oh, you gotta save, you gotta hold on, you gotta keep, you gotta get, you gotta, you're not gonna survive. And I, you know, and yes, you should always think about, like, you know, some sort of the future and that, you can have that, but not coming from a place of fear, not coming from a place of like, oh my God, we're gonna not have anything, and you know, it's really hard.
Their risk was surviving war, that was their risk, not financial risk where they can just, once they actually had some stability, they weren't willing to throw that away over just an idea.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And even like, you know, I really like with what I do and stuff, I really even change the wording I use. I don't like to use work, because work means work, like you're working.
So what do you use?
I just say I'm actually practicing. So say if I'm doing my spinal energetics, I say I'm practicing spinal energetics, you know. I'm with my clients practicing, because it feels lighter. It's not something that is burdening me, and it's not heavy, and it's something I'm enjoying. Do you know? So even work and the way.
See that, like, it's something you're enjoying.
Yeah.
I think it starts there as well when it comes to from when you're a kid and from our parents pushing us to do something or be something.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be that, because you can practice something you enjoy, but if you're doing a job
that you hate,
but if you know what I mean, like 100%. I think it'd be hard to feel enjoyment and say I'm going to go and practice being I don't know, a bricklayer. But when their back's sore every day and they don't want to do it.
But see,
you know what I mean?
You know what? Look, I first was a mum looking after my kids, and my back did break, and I was okay with that phase too. And then when that was established and it sort of was done, then I started this, right? So it wasn't that I didn't have that. I did, in a different way, but I still didn't find it work. Because when I was a mum, come on, you're gonna have sleepless nights, you're gonna be tired, your back's gonna be sore, you're gonna have sick children, you're gonna have to fucking go through that.
Do you think the purpose of being the person you are, like the purpose of being that mum and having such a purpose at the time, takes away from being work?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
No, you know what it was? It was that I did not undervalue fucking me being a mum. So I didn't need to be a doctor to get my validation, and I didn't need to be fucking making money to get my validation. Being a mum was my validation, right? So then, even though it was hard, it wasn't something that I needed to do something else on top of it so that I feel good about myself. Because a lot of people feel that, because even in their comment, okay, talking about words, they say, I'm just a mum. What is just a mum? You're a fucking mum. Why is it just a mum? Right? So I think I never saw myself as just a mum. I was very, very confident in being a mum, and I loved it, because it was like, wow, do you know how much it takes for me to be a mum? And so because I saw being a mum with that kind of way of seeing it, I never felt shit about it. Even though it was hard, I didn't see it as work. I was like, wow, this is something, this is amazing. It is more than my spinal energetics now. It's bigger. It's bigger than that. You know, and so I think exactly how you relate to what you're doing matters. 100%. If you see it as, I'm just a housewife, I'm just a mum, well then fuck, that's what you're going to bring to that.
No, you're right, because even with myself, the reason why I mentioned purpose, because I think as we're conversing now, I'm actually picking up on things and realising stuff, that I've been coaching for 12 years, doing what I do. Before that, I was a teenager, and it was my passion. It was my hobby, my passion, everything I thought about when I wasn't at the gym. When I was at school, I was thinking about everything, right? But at times, I think I feel exhausted, and I feel a little bit over the whole thing when I don't feel purpose. But when I remind myself, or I deal with a certain client or student, and they say, or parent says, hey, this kid, you've changed their life, and I gain that purpose, that feeling of purpose again, then all of a sudden it's not work anymore.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
People can have massive businesses, man, and they can be earning big money, right? But do you know what? When they don't have purpose, they will feel stagnant, they'll feel
100%.
bored, they'll feel overwhelmed, they'll feel depleted, because after a while, the shiny objects, it's cool, but if you're only chasing that, it's fucking draining. It's exhausting, man.
Very exhausting.
Do you know what I mean? So I think the way we label things and the way we relate to what we want to do in life is massive. And you've got to know, hey, you've got to be strong enough to know, hey, I don't want to chase that stuff at the detrimental effect of me feeling shit. Like, I don't want to. If I'm happier living a simple life and being able to be at home and also then, you know, have my business and stuff, and it's a nice balance, that means more to me than me driving a fancy car. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And I think success, the word success has to also change in our family life, right? I know for a fact that my dad thinks success is having a good job.
Yeah, having a doctorate.
A good job.
Yeah,
you know, you don't even have to be a fucking doctor's like icing on the cake, but if you have a good job that pays well, and I'm like, no. For me, success is my peace of mind, me being able to go to the gym when I want to, me being able to have a holiday when I want to, me being able to sit at home and enjoy if my kids have dinner together, me being able to actually connect with people that I want to spend this time even, right? That's success to me, because it means like I'm never in this space of like, fuck, just trying to keep up. That is draining. So even with my kids, success means different to them. It means that if it's a sunny day, they can take a day off. They want to. You know, you know what I mean? Like,
they get that feeling of
like freedom.
Same feeling of freedom.
Man.
That's
like,
a success. That's a win for them.
Exactly. It's like, hey, what do you want to do? Like, how do you want to explore life? Yeah. And I think these are the conversations that need to change. And it's great my mum and dad worked hard, and I love it, because, you know, that has been in me. Like, the way I parented was, I really did work hard. I really did invest myself into that and stuff. But there were things that I didn't want to do their way, because it would have kept me in that rat race of fucking work hard to have this, and you have to get that to be happy, and this means success. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And look, most of the time, your parents want you to do better than they did, right? But they just sometimes don't understand or don't know how to get it across to you. Yeah. Because
they see, look at it this way. If they didn't have certain things, they think that if you get those things, you'll be happy.
Exactly.
But you know what, man?
To have more and
because they've come from a space where they think having things because they didn't have it is going to give you happiness. We're now fucking overloaded with things. How many iPhones do you want? Yeah. Right? How many cars do you want to go through? How many, you know, clothing bags? Like, we fucking have enough. Yeah. We're passing that. If you still are in that, good luck to you. I think, like, you know, in this generation, it's not about accumulation. It's actually about letting go and fucking actually peace. Actual peace, man. To actually be able to sit still sometimes with a friend. You tell me how many people can actually sit and have a coffee, have a cup of tea.
Without touching their phone?
Without touching their phone. Not just that. Having the stress of fucking, I've got to go to work and fucking if I... you know, I watched a little snippet of a great interview. Goes, you know, we have developed tools that are actually meant to make life easier for us, compared to like caveman times where they're hunting and spearing and catching their food. Yeah. But guess what, mate? We have less time to enjoy life, even though we have tools that are meant to help us make life easier. Yeah. Now, is there something wrong with that picture?
Yeah, no one's living in the moment, really.
No one's living, because they're still
people living in the moment.
Accumulating, mate. They want 50 bags. I'm like, okay, you do your 50 bags, but in 10 years' time, your body's gonna fucking break down. You chasing those 50 bags. Yeah. That's it. You can't fucking keep up, man. You can't keep. Look at back at 5 years. Look back another 5 years from now. You think your body can keep up to the level of? Our parents didn't have access to this much fucking wanting.
Yeah, you're right. They were happier with less.
Now we need 2 houses.
But this is like
now we need 5 cars in the driveway. Yeah. And it's like, kids are watching this level of fucking grabbing and taking and wanting more.
You're right,
and
because
stuff.
if
What
our
are you doing?
parents wanted us to have more than them, and we got a fucking shitload of shit now that, mate,
They didn't have
basically
it.
I told Jesse,
Yeah.
hey, like, you know, we're renting when we purchase our next property. I'm going
Simple,
less.
Simple.
What you see in this house is
Simple.
going less.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And if I don't do things like that, my kids are going to see the
Exactly.
bullshit I've got.
Can you imagine what?
Imagine what they're going to have.
Imagine what they're gonna think success is now,
That's
having
what I mean.
more than
And
you.
what I do know
You
is,
started them on chasing again.
and I don't care. I don't. People can admit it, and I don't admit it. In the Western world, where you have an option and it's in front of your face all the time to attain luxuries, they come with amount of stress.
They come with a
I don't
fucking
give a
price
fuck.
tag.
A price tag. I don't care if you want it through lottery. I don't care if you
Yep.
stressed over the fact that you needed it that bad, and it came to you, right? But you either worked your ass off for it, but some form of stress was involved to make
get that.
riches, to have that much of wealth,
Dude,
right?
think about cars. Think
That's
about
bullshit.
how much money people pay to get a car and to maintain it. They work to maintain that car, right? Because of the way fucking status plays for them. I need to have this. I need to you know, and that's my thing, man. Think about because you've put yourself in that stress now, and you're having a discussion with your wife about fuck, we have payments coming out.
And the kids are
Who
seeing
the
that.
fuck is listening
Oh,
to
mate,
that?
mate, we're all culprits. We've all been there. And seriously, after this conversation, it's just gonna turn that awareness up even more for me,
Yeah.
because I know for a fact now, especially Roman, I know he's aware. And you're right. When I grew up, my dad's a hard worker, but there was always talks, you know, not always talks, but I knew he had to work hard for what we had.
Yeah.
And work late and start early, and I didn't see a finish line.
Yeah.
And I
But
still,
dude,
you know what I mean?
look, let me put it this way. When they came, they were migrants, right?
Yeah.
So they had to.
They had to.
Now it's our choice. Do you know
Exactly.
what? Your dad was happy with one car, right?
Oh.
Now we want three.
Now he's
We want
got-
three, right? We want the car in the driveway. The missus had the we want a
The
boat
thing
and
is,
it's
he's
our choice now.
The thing is, yeah, he's content, right? But then if I look at their position, and I'm like, for me, I, you know, we could be at that at an earlier age,
Yeah.
have all that, but we're still not content.
That's what
Doing,
I'm saying.
you know what I mean?
That's
So,
what
but
I'm saying.
what I did take from it was
Work hard.
work hard, because if I didn't work hard,
Yeah, exactly.
if I didn't work hard, if I didn't put in double the amount of hours that a 9 to 5 would give you,
You wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be here at all.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I'm like, take the good stuff out of that. Like that's what my
But
mum
that
and
only
dad
comes with
worked their
maturity
ass
anyway,
off, right?
yeah?
But then just because they work their ass off, I'm going to. But then I'm going to also. I'm going to be wise enough to say, Mum and Dad, it's not about saving money anymore. We've got to invest money, and that's the part
Yeah,
they
you
didn't
gotta
have,
take
right?
a few bit
So
of
it's
this.
like, hey, you take the good of that wisdom, and you also include your own lessons and journey and stuff, and you do this. And that's what I want to, you know, speak about at home and stuff. But when I look at like how life is happening and the communications and all the way we talk in front or around our kids, and I think, man, we are actually raising them into a fucking society that's all about having more and struggling and working hard. Think about it. Like if your conversation, not even conversation, if you look tired every single day that you come home, you can't have weekends to sit down with your kid. What are you communicating, man? That shit is more important than me fucking spending time with you.
Yeah, 100%.
That's also getting communicated.
Yeah.
And guess what? Not like in our parents' time where they were migrants and they were establishing a first set of, you know, first level. They can see it's a choice because you want the fancy this and you want the fancy that. Because that's another thing.
100%. So see TV, but
Yeah.
why you keep getting bigger TVs for, but I don't see you?
Yes.
Why
so our
bigger
parents,
cars, but I still don't see you?
yes, because
You know what
our
I mean?
parents, I knew they had to work,
100%,
right?
yeah.
So that's why we were never felt neglected. But now what's happening in this generation is like, oh, fuck, my mum wants that fucking bag, so my dad has to work 50 hours a week now. Oh, my dad actually wants that second car, so now he has to work. because it's not about a fucking necessity now. It's become a fucking choice of like consuming. And so these conversations that are happening, what is that setting up our kids, mate? What do you reckon?
And they're seeing a relationship with tension at first hand
Yeah,
between their parents.
pressure, and success is fucking
No.
getting more, and the pressure of keeping it all, and you know, and think about it, man, like that is not success, mate. Success is being able to fucking sit on the grass in your backyard. How many times do you go in your backyard and sit down and have a coffee there?
At the moment, not me.
I love it how
At
people
the
buy a
moment, not
house
me,
because
yeah.
they go, look at this
My
thing,
next property,
and I fucking,
hopefully,
yeah, but you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying though? How many times people buy it because they envision this life?
100%.
But how many times do people actually sit and use that space?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I think it's really important that yes, you take values, you take the lessons that our parents taught us, you know, but fuck, mate, be aware, because they did it from a place of growth and whatever, and they had a different life and whatever. But our conversations at home have to change.
They have to change.
Languaging have to change.
They got to change.
What success means has to change. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%. Otherwise, we're just paving the wrong road for our kids, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's
A
got
road
to
full of hardship and tension.
chasing.
Yeah,
Chasing. Man, never having enough. Never. Imagine that. You never have enough. Every house has fucking over 2 TVs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody even watching TV in their own room like that. I don't have that. I don't let the kids have TVs in their room, so that if you're going to watch something, we're all together. Just even that stuff. It's how many TVs do you need, bro? Do you know? How many of, like, think about it. And it's funny, right? Because I had a house before this which was more living spaces, but I prefer this house because it brings us together, right? Yeah. And I think, isn't it funny? It's even showing us that people are buying bigger houses, less land, bigger houses, so that everyone can have a friggin' area that they can be away from each other. And I was like, fuck, that's weird. Like, that's weird to me. And it's like, look at the patterns, man. Like, bigger doesn't always mean better, you know?
Hopefully it's coming back around now.
Yeah. And I think these are the conversations, like I said, like Zarada's picking up, you know, just, it's funny. And, you know, I would really highly recommend it on any of our listeners to really be aware of the conversations. And
whether it's even around your kids or if you're just, if you don't have kids. What you say, your body's going to listen and your mind's going to listen. It's going to, you talk, you tell yourself that life is hard and
it is going to be hard.
You look in the mirror and say, oh, you know, I don't like my hair, I don't like this.
Well, fuck, you're going to not like your hair. Your hair's going to look shit. If
and
your kid's going to go, fuck, I've got mum and dad's hair.
Oh,
My hair must be shit too.
100%. I can't do this, I can't do that. That person's just lucky.
I
always get fucked up.
Okay, keep going. Universe is going, here, have some more
100%.
of that.
So we're all going to be aware of how we speak, our language.
Yeah. Go on.
Oh, sorry, I was just give you guys a wink. Alright, so that's a little bit of food for thought, and I know myself that conversation triggered a lot more awareness in me, so I'm going to make sure, especially this weekend with my kids, that I'm not going to say the F word, because my son now says it, number one. God. So I'm going to be a lot more aware of what I say, and make sure that we're being the right role models for them inside our home.
Man, you know what? Because it sets your kids up for success. You know, you don't want to set your kids up for fucking hardship. You want to create like a pattern in them, a belief system in them that fucking allows them to breathe a little bit better, easier, not have to chase, and you know, make their life a little bit more less stressful and more
make them
enjoyable.
feel more worthy for what comes their way.
Just life. You don't have to keep chasing.
Worthy, Cool. So, if you have any questions, guys, or have any topics you want us to talk about, please leave a comment. I know the comments have been turned off, but we're going to turn them on. Yeah. Cool.
And next week we're going to have Jack.
Yes, most likely. I'm just trying to work out logistics with him. But we'll have Jack Lyons on, one of our pro MMA fighters. and just a really cool bloke that I've probably known since he was, I think, 14 when he walked into our gym, and he'd be 20, 21 now. So I've seen him grow up from being a young teen playing footy, and now he's a full-grown adult, punching heads in, I guess, and doing it well.
And the nicest person.
Very nice person. He just actually went for a nice trip up north on his own, and his missus met him up there, and they cruised back down together. And yes, he'll talk about all the experiences and cool things and cool people he met. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Do share and comment, and share, like, and tell your friends and family about it, man.
100%.
And support us.
100%.
Cool. Till next time.
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
That was good. That was actually a good fucking.
Do you like it?
Yeah, that was good.
I like it because it opened up a lot of questions.
Yeah. It is, man. It's like fucking. That's why I say, man, you gotta set your kids up for success, mate. Not a rat race. Not a rat race. You know what I mean? Not the rat race. Fucking see.